Hello and welcome to the AFL Auto Blend 3D car creation channel. This is the next in the P1800 Volvo tutorial, blender tutorial series. In this episode I'm just reflecting on the next steps, plus also explaining my method of working, which is different to others. I think when you watch tutorials and follow-alongs and whatever by various people, just pick out the bits and pieces that suit you best and then mould them into your own way. Anyway, in this the mesh is getting close to being complete in terms of a guide mesh. Now what I mean by a guide mesh is that my modelling process is to get the body as close to the blueprints and the reference images as possible, and then I'll use that resultant mesh as a guide. So it's like a bit like a jelly mold at the moment, but what I do is I call it guide mesh, which I've done here, and I also then apply a shrink wrap modifier. Now a shrink wrap modifier is basically, if you can imagine that the mesh here is a magnet, so any vertices from any other mesh that you use and you apply to this guide mesh gets drawn in by the guide mesh, so by the way of using a shrink wrap modifier. Now the best way to describe a shrink wrap modifier is this. This is a jewellery box that I did for my mum, and basically if I turn visibility off of the vase and click on the visibility of the guide mesh, so this is the guide mesh, this is what I use for the bottom. So I've got it, the mesh as clear as I could, as smooth as I could all the way round. Okay, then I said, right, I want to engrave it with the word mum on there. So what I did was I selected it, pressed Shift and D to copy it, okay, and then I took off visibility and renamed it to guide mesh, the first one, and then I worked on the base mesh. So if I show you what the base mesh is, so this is it here. So if we go into edit mode, so select it, go into edit mode. Right, as you can see, I manipulated the there's tries and all sorts in there. But I manipulated the mesh to read the word mum. I extruded it inwards, and I took the vertices that I'd extruded inwards. I took that out of the. Here we go. If you click on here, this is the vertex group. So this is the vertex group. So you click that button there. You add a group in, and then you assign all the vertices from the guide mesh into that group. Now how you apply the guide mesh, so what happens is you add a modifier in called guide shrink wrap, okay, and in the shrink wrap you point it to the guide mesh. So you either click on the little click on here and drag it across, or you just go in there and choose it from here, from the list, and then the vertex group which you've created down here you put into here. Okay, so that's what I do. I've done a video on shrink wrap modifier, so I don't have to explain it all in this part, but I was just trying to tell you what I do and my method of working. But to get a better idea of what it does, if we turn off the shrink wrap here, so just turn it off, you can automatically see, look, the lines don't run through it as well. There's sort of bumps and all sorts in there. In the outside face, I'm not worried about what's in the inside face. And then if I apply it again, if you look closely, it automatically stretches it back to that guide mesh that you've done. So it's a fantastic tool. And if you look, we zoom in and look closely, the outside of the word mum is blemish free. There's no pinching or anything like that. So that's what I do, and that's what I'll be doing on the Volvo. Just to have a look at the vertex group again. The interesting thing about the vertex group is that you can select all the vertices that are within that group. So as you can see, it's all the vertices on the out, and the ones, if I press Control and I, it highlights all the vertices that aren't in the group. Because if I assigned it, those vertices, if I assigned them, it would, as you can see, it brings all the vertices back onto that shrink wrap. And again, that's perfect looking through the reflections, but it's not what we want. So that's just a brief sort of explanation of what I'm going to be doing in the next stages. I think there's still a couple of sessions on the Volvo to get it perfect, and I think you can sort of do these yourself and get it there. But I'll do a follow along to show you my progress to get in that shape where I can say, well, yes, that is a guide mesh that I can use. We've still got areas here. This needs to come up a little bit here. The definition of this is getting there. It's not quite right, but it's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be at this stage, so it's all good. Anyway, thank you for watching. Before I go, if you want to take screen grabs of this, please do, in edit mode. So we'll just go side view there, front view there, rear view and top view. Just take screen grabs of all those, and you can compare it with what you've done. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.